Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian welcoming you back to Tabletop Simulator for Turn 2 of Successors. In our last episode, we saw Blue get a very large lead in the legitimacy race. This may be Blue's path to victory. On the other hand, green and blue are quite close on victory points. If you made a comment at the end of last video about how I had the victory points wrong, I fixed it. Oh no, wait. Yeah, because green lost Babylon the moment they lost the city. No one controls the city right now. So that is why, green lost 4 points. And blue lost 3 points because they don't have the dominance of the seas yet. They will after the reinforcement phase, but they won't then. So we're going to do the preparation phase. So for game turn 2, there's a new card that can be played. If it comes up, I'll talk about it. If it doesn't, I won't worry about it. But more importantly, we can now win an instant victory, and we can bury Alexander. I haven't talked about the funeral cart yet in a lot of detail. If you can get the funeral cart to a major city and bury Alexander, you get 2 legitimacy. If you can get them all the way up to Pelos, you get 10 legitimacy. So that's enough to completely change the complexion of this game, if they can bury him. Now, how do you actually bury the funeral card, I hear you asking? Well, first things first, you have to end the turn in a major city during the forage segment. Yep. If we do not bury him by the end of turn 4, he disappears. Someone steals his body and makes a meat puppet out of him, or makes jerky or whatever, I don't know. So, the usurper is now blue, who has 1 more victory point. This is incredibly significant because it means if blue attacks green, blue loses 3 legitimacy. Very important. The player with the lowest VP gets to decide who goes first. Green is going to go first. Because if green can kill this loyal unit, they can retake Babylonia without having to siege it down again. So it's a very important thing for them to do. So in turn order, we trigger our reinforcements. So first thing that happens is everyone in the dispersed box comes home. I want the most powerful possible army right here. I don't know how royal armies work in an army that doesn't have generals, but I think it would still count. Or would they just be an overrun? I think it would just be an overrun. Let me quickly check that. Because as long as the army is big enough, I just don't remember the ratio in this game. It's 5-1 in Hannibal, but I don't know what it is in this game off the top of my head. But I think an overrun, the royal armies wouldn't even get involved. Okay, if it's involved in an overrun, don't defect. But what is an overrun? Overrun is 10J. If it is overrun by 5-1. And I believe the loss would just be that unit would die if there's only one. Because their battle score would basically be considered to be 0. Or something. Yeah, I don't think... I think an overrun doesn't... I'm going to check. There's another overrun. Yeah, 10J. Overrun CUs count as if they lost a land battle. So basically, I wouldn't lose a CU because I'd have more than twice their battle score, because their battle score would only be 1. Okay. So I need a nice, powerful army to do the overrun in Babylon. It will be pretty cost because I have plans for him. Big plans. So I'm going to start him right over here. And you get your dudes back. Next I place Pathon somewhere on the board. He's not very powerful. So I think letting him try to pick up an easy province or two makes a ton of sense. I think I'm going to send him to Egypt. No, to Palestine so he can go after Arabia. There we go. And last but certainly not least, Aemenes comes home. I'm going to have him go to Egypt too. I didn't plan on this necessarily, but I think it makes a lot of sense. It gives him a bit more troops. But also it puts him in a position where I can have some plans with him. So green is done reinforcing. Oh, no, they're not. They've just undispersed their units. Now we actually get a reinforcements. So every player without exception gets 2 mercenary CUs with any army they like. High pretty costs. Have 2 CUs. Next, the player with I don't control Macedonia. I don't have the most VP or the most legitimacy, so I don't get any other units other than that. Now blue gets to go ahead and do their reinforcement phase because it's always done in turn order. First things first, they get all their fleets back. So they regain this immediately, and they gain 3 victory points. So they got 1, 2, 3. They get their 2 mercenaries. And I think I want to strengthen Antipatros, or not Crateros, Antipatros, because he's going to deal with these independents at some point. I'm actually going to give him all of my reinforcements, which would be 2 loyal Macedonians, because I'm winning on... No, I get 2 loyal Macedonians because I control Macedonia, and because I have the most legitimacy as blue, and I get 4 mercenaries, because they're very attracted to fighting for me. I'm going to give 3 to Antipatros, giving me 8 very powerful CUs, and then 1 CU over to Crateros. Just a reinforcement as a treat. That's reinforcements done. Next, we reshuffle the entire deck of Taiki cards. This isn't like, say, Hannibal, where you only reshuffle it very few times. You reshuffle every card every time. Green gets the first 5, then blue, and then yellow will get the bonus cards. In my last game, my test of this first round, because I inadvertently gave myself too many victory points, green ended up with the silver shields, and that would have been pretty bonkers. Regardless, let us go ahead now and begin green's proper turn. So green gets to place anywhere they have a general that doesn't already have a token. I don't see any, though. Oh, what about Ptolemy? Yeah, Ptolemy's gonna go flip. So that happened. Any other units where I might gain a place? I don't think so. So that's green's surrender segment done. Next, we decide which card to put. Let's look at what we've got here. Ooh, I'm Superior Admiral. Very nice. I have the Cretan Liar. I could get rid of the Kalikia fleet or cancel a surprise card. That's pretty cool. And I've got port resupplied. I can remove a siege point from any port major city. So I've got 3 reaction cards, surprise cards. Treasure City looted. I can spend up to... I get 10 free OPs. And it gets the looted marker because it can never be looted again. Interesting. That is quite powerful, actually. Choose a oh my gosh. Oh, ho, ho, ho. I can't not play this card. It's too important. It significantly reduces the chances of blue getting a master. Yeah. It's too important. And do I pick which general it is? I do. I'm gonna put it on Antipatros. Reason being, I don't really think... Yeah, I don't really think he's gonna have a path to... Because Antipatros is the one who's least likely to fight me, and therefore the least likely to die. And I want this -3 legitimacy to be there as long as possible to give Breen a chance to catch up. That was a very opportunely drawn card. Thank you, deck. Now we're going to do some activations. We're going to roll that beautiful bean footage. 1. Everyone moves 2 spaces. Well, gross. Well, first things first, we're going to overrun these jerks. Thus meaning that I can claim Babylonia for green next turn. Unless they do something to stop me. Pathon's gonna go 1, 2. And we're gonna start trying to wear down this stronghold. I don't have any movement points left, so I can't do anything about it right now, but... perhaps later. Ptolemaios has Cappadocia. And Phrygia is really quite open right now. I could fight for the sake of fighting and try to kill that army. I just don't think that's useful to me right now. I think it's more important that I find a way to get easy points. Or badly disrupt Blue's plans. And I think both of these would be achieved by moving closer to Phrygia. So we're going to go 1, 2. And I want to move you over to Libya. Eumenes has only 2 troops, so no biggie that he finishes a turn on a transit point. And done. I believe that is all of Green's generals moved. Yep, Ptolemaeus, Pathon, Eumenes, and Perdiccas. Done. I can't bury him. I don't have the funeral cart, so I can't do anything about that. I am good. Now we're going to switch over to Team Blue. What does Blue have in store? So Blue's got a major campaign, which is pretty solid. If I win, I can do... Oh, dear. Oh, I can't do for independent PCs. Annoying. Okay. So here's a definite concern for me is Blue. But maybe it's not such a big concern. If I attack Green at any point, because I'm considered the usurper and he is not, I lose champion status, which means I lose 3 legitimacy. That's not the end of the world, though. We'll see what happens. But it does affect how I decide to play my card. A major campaign would be pretty intriguing, I've gotta say. Because Leonatos can move real fast. Can you imagine if they used Rhodes to fuck up some shit in Egypt? That would be pretty cash money if we could make that happen. 1, 2. There's always a chance my opponent has storms, but taking Egypt would be 6 points. That would be quite a dramatic swing in this game. But I can do that even without the major campaign. I'm wondering if... Okay, the Cappadocian mercenaries I can't use for that. It's a minor raid, which means I get to do both, right? I get both this and the raids. I use then 2 MPs of an army. Oh, sorry, surrender segment happens first before I decide to play a card. I am a potato. Okay. Agrianes becomes blue. Where else are there loose PCs or blue guys? And that becomes blue. Do I see any loose troops that might actually be blue? I don't see any. I don't see any. Alright, cool story, bro. Okay, that part is done. Now I actually have a card to play. And so let's talk broad strategy here. The single biggest thing blue could do to help them win the game, now that a legitimacy instant victory is not going to happen this turn. I'm not saying it definitely won't happen, but it basically means getting the funeral cart all the way over to help to Pelos. And that's going to be quite the long journey. Kratos is only here. And Helos is over there. Or Pelos is over there, excuse me. So that's not going to be a really easy thing for them to do. It pretty much has to be done by naval movement, right? But even then, we're talking quite a long trek for Kratos. And it's fair to ask, is using my best general only for the purposes of moving the funeral cart a waste of resources? Maybe. But if I don't have him escort the cart, then there's a different danger, which is that it gets attacked and blue gets the funeral and green gets the funeral cart. Telegitimacy is a permanent bonus, and it's an instant win for blue, though. I almost think trying to move the funeral cart is more important than almost anything else they could do. So what we're going to do is we are going to play the major campaign. That's going to be our Taiki card. So Kratos gets to move 4 spaces. So he is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to leave guys behind. Oh, so you can never break them up. Yeah, I'll leave mercenaries in this space. And then I'll drop off the... Wait, what did I just do? No, I'm fine. And then I will leave my royal army here. Because I believe you can drop off the royal army. I don't think they have to be like with a general at all times. I guess I better check real fast. I suppose. But I'm pretty sure the only thing I'm pretty sure you can drop them off, though you just can't split them. Yeah, I don't think it matters. So that's what I'm going to do with Kratos. It does weaken him a bit, but there's no general that's a real threat to him in the area. Like, maybe Ptolemaeus, but this can help us take Syria, or at least deny it eventually to green, but more importantly, it gets me closer to a path to Macedonia. I kind of think the funeral card is the key here, if we can manage it. That's Army the First. Do we do a stealth raid on Egypt? Amenes is not a weak commander. And in Egypt itself... Oh, that's true. In Egypt itself, they'd get a +3. Check that. They get a +2 battle strength because they control Egypt. And I can't take away control of Egypt from there. It seems like I don't want to leave him in Rhodes. That's for certain. What if we take Cyprus? It's 2 points and another fleet. Friends, I do not hate that idea at all. If we can make that happen. So I'm going to go, because it's Leonatos, I get 6 movement points. That's kind of his superpower. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Now, they have the right, if they wish to engage with naval combat. I don't think they're going to, though. I don't think it's worthwhile to them. So I've taken 3 moves. I'm going to use 2 moves to go ahead and try to siege his space. We get a 6. That would be 2 siege points, except it's only... I only need 1, so that gets removed. And next turn I'll be able to take over part of Cyprus, which is great. Yeah, if you complete a siege in there, you remove their PC, but you don't add your own. That's 2 generals moved. Now we've got general number 3. So, blue needs Greece. Blue needs Hellas. If they get Hellas, that's 6 bloody points. And it's another fleet if they take Athens, which I'm going to need to do. Standing in their way is Leosthenes. Leosthenes is going to have a combat strength of 9. 6 for being a dude, and 3 for controlling that province, plus being a dude. I just stopped saying a dude. Plus 1 for being on a rebel-controlled space. That should indeed have a rebel marker on it. However, once I kill him, he's dead. And that then opens up a big opportunity for green. Or blue. Gosh, I'm not blue-green colorblind, I'm just blue-green idiot. So I think it's really worthwhile. I think it's really worthwhile. So let's talk about how this battle would go down. Antipatros has a total combat strength with 8 units, which is the most you have without losing attrition, has 13 combat strength. They've got 9. Their general's worth a 3, my general is worth a 3. Antipatros is very powerful in Macedonia, but I won't be in Macedonia. Winning this battle would be quite large. Wait, what is the Strategos for? Is it for... I've got to remember what that's for. That specific thing of Strategos. Oh, if you control Macedonia, that's what it is. So if at some point we lose it, then he loses that. That's fine. Antipatros, we're gonna try it. 1, 2, 3, fight. Alright, so first things first, we're gonna roll to see how. Oh no, we don't. We roll, we each roll 2 dice. Alright. Team Blue, Team Other Guys. Alright. So, I got a 9. There's a chance I might die. So it's a 9 versus 11. So a 9 on a 13-14 is worth 9 points. An 11 on a 9 is worth 9 points. It is a draw. It is a draw. So, if there is in fact a draw, I know I keep saying this thing, the word draw. Where's the battle movement thing here? Come on, game. Here it is. I retreat, and we both lose 1 CU. They can't lose CUs, however. They either win or they die. Let me double check it happens in independent army. I might actually lose nothing, except for possibly my general, which would be very interesting if that happened. Let me see here. I'm looking at a battle with an independent army here. Yeah, I think I lose Z, but they lose nothing. That's not ideal, but I'll survive. I shall survive. Maybe. I'm gonna lose 1 mercenary unit. Oh, that should be a 2, sorry. And now, very important, I have to roll to see if he dies. In a draw, if I get a 6, he dies. I'm gonna take the one that is a 6. It couldn't possibly be a 6 again, right? That stretches my credulity. Whew. If we had lost that battle, he's dead. But we didn't, so the only consequence is I have to back up and lick my wounds. All that was just my major campaign. Now I get to go ahead and play my actual activation. We get a 1. Can only move 2 spaces for each unit. That's fine. Yes, I can move 1 loyal troop behind so that I can flip that. That's a major city. That's going to be quite challenging. But we're going to give it a shot. So, wait, no, I'm not. It takes 2 MP to siege, doesn't it? I can move there, but I can't siege. That's annoying, but it is true. It is true. No, here we are. Okay. So that's him done. Krateros is going to go here. No, he is not. Yeah, I can't take Syria with him. That's fine. I want to get him over to Pella if I can. So it's going to go 1-2. If that's the case, I'm just going to keep his entire army with him. I see no benefit to weakening himself. Or they just seems really short-sighted to try to take out provinces when there's much bigger game here. Alright. That's them both move. I'm going to try again here with Antipatros. The rewards are too great if we can somehow win this. So we're going to give it a shot. It is now 12-9 because of loss of the 1 CU. Okay, that is 8v10. So 8 on a 12 is 7. 10 on a 9 is also 7. Another draw. Another dead mercenary. Damn, son. Now he's only got 11 strength. And he goes back. Alright. So since both blue and green have played, we're going to reveal... Oh, that's a red card, so it just gets discarded. As is this one. Done. Green. It is now your turn to do your siege segment. So, Ptolemy doesn't have a siege to do. Perdiccas reclaims Babylon for green. Good for a big fat 4-point jump. And then I have a siege attempt over here at with Pathon here. No, I don't. Just kidding. I don't have enough units to do siege. Oh my god. Really, game? Really? Really? I need more troops. That is a thing I did not realize, that I desperately need more troops, but here we are. I know a way to get troops, and that's to play Treasure City Looted. Also, it's Eumenes isn't going to be able to siege either, because he also doesn't have enough troops. Yikes. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and play Treasure City Looted. And I am going to loot Susa. I'm just going to put that right there, just as a reminder that it's been looted. That gets me 10 OPs to use for troops or forced marching. I am going to get 1 loyal Macedonian unit. That'll cost me 7 points. And I'm going to give those to Eumenes, because he's got a bit of a tougher fight ahead of him. No, wait a minute. No. No, I need... Hang on. I need the 3 mercenaries instead. That's going to be 1 mercenary for you. And it's going to be 2 for the other guy. So we can start doing sieges next turn. If we are so inclined. That's only 9 of the 10. I could start the recruitment of a 3rd dude. Or I can place PCs. I don't think placing PCs makes more sense. Except, I don't think there... No, okay, that's right. It can be a PC within distance of my own PC. I'm going to go ahead and place one in Amida. Because what that's going to do, it's going to isolate this blue token here at the end of this round. There's pretty much nothing blue can do about it. Also, this blue one's going to be isolated as well. Because there's nowhere for them to draw their supply to. So that's a good use of that card. Now I get to activate my generals. Let us see what we can roll here. 5. Everyone gets 4 movement points. Delightful. So Kratos' current strength is 11. Ptolemy's is 4. Ptolemy needs to get the fuck away from Kratos as soon as possible. As nice as it might be to threaten Phrygia, is it possible for 4 to win against an 11? If I roll box cards, that's worth a 6. If he rolled less than a 7, I could theoretically win it. But I'd be attacking him in his province, which means I'd actually get... Yeah, it's suicide, basically, to do that. I don't really have an option here to fight him. I don't have the troops. Kratos is a really freaking good general. I'm kind of boned no matter what with him. At some point, I'm going to have to deal with him, though, for a very important reason. If he gets the Pelos, by the end of a forage segment, we lose the game. Because I can't stop him from burying in Pelos. It's quite a journey, but it's one that he can definitely make. So maybe our best course would be... Ptolemy only has 2 dudes, so he can't siege, alas. And for Bithynia, I need both places. But if I can get to Macedonia before him, I can try to turn the province against him. No, he'd lose 3 for attacking me, but then he would gain 10 for having buried Alexander. So, I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to go... No, I need troops before I move out of the way. Maybe we just grabbed Armenia, because Armenia is actually pretty easy to take. I think I will do that. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to stop there. I don't have to siege anything to take Armenia. That, I think, is what makes it a very interesting target for me. That's Ptolemy done. Pathon, you're going to go ahead and do a siege. You do need 2 siege points in order to be successful. We'll take this die, sure. A5 is, I believe, good enough for a siege point. And siege point. And then he can just try it again. Because strongholds are 2. That's very important to recall because we haven't really dealt with them yet. It is 2 points to take a stronghold. So he's just going to try to siege again. And he got it 2. I think that's nothing happens, right? Yeah, nothing happens. Alright, Eumenes is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can start sieging down Libya next turn. Is that everybody? No, it isn't. I have not done anything with Perdiccas yet. Perdiccas is honestly, of all of our troops, is the one who's most likely to be able to deal with him, but there's a real issue with him. And that issue is that all of his troops are royal troops. Which means they're highly likely to defect to blue, because blue's got way more legitimacy than I do. But I don't really have another option. Someone's got to be in a position to slow him down. No, you just get fucking wrecked. Kroteros is the worst. You're a jerk, Kroteros. I hate that I can't do anything about you because of your stupid silver shields. There really isn't anywhere else for him to go. So I'm kind of thinking that we maybe use him to start getting a bit of a naval presence. Maybe come up with some ways to threaten some of their lanes to the west. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is all of his units moved. No one suffers any attrition. And that is it for green's turn. Back to blue. I'm just gonna, I could just play the minor raid. I think I will. What's an enemy NPC? No, enemy is not independent. No, it's had to specify that. So, I will play minor raid though. Two spaces. Oh, it's 2 MPs worth, right? Annoying. But I can at least remove this one. Just to annoy green slightly. I'm really doing this so that I can get, then I get 2 ops points. Let's start training. Ooh, or I could place PCs. I could place PCs. I could put one right where I dropped it. I mean, yeah, I could do that. Let's do that. Let's put 1 PC there. And let's just put 1 in Lesbos. That's just one less thing for me to worry about. Done. Dorn. Now I get to roll the dice and try to activate my units. 4 spaces. Excelente. Do I automatically suffer attrition if I go through a mountain pass? When do you suffer attrition? Because that would affect how I go out of Kilikia. Attrition is 7.3. Oh, literally, it's not like Hannibal, so you don't get attrition by going through Mountain Pass. So we're just going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Because getting him over there wins the game. And winning the game is why we're here. If Kratos is not somehow thwarted. Leonatos is going to go ahead and attempt a siege again. He gets a 5. That is 1 glorious siege point, and he may try it again. Wait a minute. I skipped their surrender segment. I keep doing this, guys. So that doesn't count as his action. He's actually going to get 2 more opportunities. Because it's quite significant that this becomes blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he was there the whole time. And okay. It only literally mattered for that space and giving him a... No, he wouldn't have been there. So that did count as his 2. And I get to do 2 more. I get to do 1 more attempt. And at this point, green starts rubbing his hands together. And then blue says, oh, wait a minute. Did you think you were taking that city? And they played ports resupply. So basically, he would remove this one, and a new one would get placed on, and then green draws a new card to replace it. Technically, green should have played that right away because he'd already rolled, but I'm just going to rule because it's just me that he's fine. So he still has a siege point on it, but he's now very annoyed at the green player for stopping him from getting 2 more victory points. So, Kratos has moved, Leonatos has moved. Actually, I couldn't siege 2nd time anyway because it took 1 space to move him. I am a potato. There are now, in fact, no siege points there because green would have removed the only one. Oh my gosh, guys. I am dreadfully sorry. I apologize. Antipatros is nothing if not persistent. He's sitting on a battle strength of 11 versus a battle strength of 9. At some point, he'll get a better freaking dice roll. Eventually. Maybe. Okay, so that 1 does become a 3 because that's Leosthenes' battle strength. However, 12 on... How many did I say he had? He has 11. So 12 on 11 is 11. 9 on 9 is only 6. So he still loses a unit, unfortunately, because you have to get twice what the other side does in order to take no casualties. So it's going to be last mercenary dead. Thank you for your service. However, more importantly, he is dead and gone forever. Poor Leosthenes, we barely knew you. That was one movement. Does a land battle stop all further movement if you win? Yes, it does. Okay. So I can't siege him, but that's alright. I can start the siege next turn and really get some good work done with Antipatros. Well done, my friend. Well done. Blues activated all of their generals. I see no reason to do anything else. I can't forage. I mean, I can forage. No, everyone is fine. And we go to green. After, however, 2 more cards come out. Cleopatra offers marriage is not an option for one of the special bonus cards. Nor is place of their own. Or plans of their own. I don't think that's one of them. There's a very specific list of cards that can be used for that. Oh no, plans of their own absolutely does work. So the player with the lowest VP or the lowest die roll is going to determine where they go. Alright. Blue and green, left to right. We tied. Tied again. Tied again. Oh my gosh, come on, game. This is getting ridiculous. We would both be in jail. Okay, green finally wins, and they get to move them within 4 MPs. She's worth 2 legitimacy. She's worth 3. So we're just gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Just to be a little bit annoying. Just to be a little bit annoying. Wait a minute. Did I reveal 2 cards? I did. Did somebody not play a card? Because there should always be an even number of cards here. Oh, I know why it's odd number, because I played a surprise card. That makes sense. Okay. So, siege segment first. I keep forgetting about this. It's quite important. Sophine is green. Nice. Python does get a chance to siege, so siege he shall. Or attempt to siege anyway. He got a 3. He does win the siege, but he also loses a dude. So he can't do any more sieging, but that's fine. This is replaced with his marker because I did it during the surrender segment. This goes away, and Arabia belongs to green. And that's a victory point. Hooray. They're now in the lead for what that matters, which is not very much, I don't think. Aemenes can now attempt to siege in Libya, which he shall attempt. He also gets a 3-8, which is really crappy timing because now it means he can't possibly continue the siege. So he doesn't even get a siege point, he just basically breaks the siege because he dropped under 3. It didn't happen at the same time. So that was annoying. Python and Aemenes both did a siege. Pretty costs. Gets to put a dude there, and that is it for him. Alright, now we play a card. Diplomacy. Choose any one enemy-controlled minor city not occupied by enemy CUs. Convert it to your control. Is there any one PC that flipping would be extremely helpful? And I don't think that there is. Oh. No, it's a minor city. It's a minor city, isn't it? To play diplomacy. As nice as this would be, I can't really do all that much damage. I could take away control of Macedonia. It wouldn't be there for long, but no, I can't. I'd have to flip over 2 of them to accomplish that. So, I think I'm gonna start training a mercenary instead. As boring as that sounds, especially given how good that card is, we need more troops. We just do. Or we're never gonna be able to really siege effectively. So that's what's happening there. Then I roll. I roll that beautiful bean footage. I get a 2. Anyone that's a 2 gets in 3 spaces. I don't think I have any 2s, though. I do not. They're all 3s. So everyone moves 2 spaces. That's fine. I'm gonna go 1, 2 with Ptolemaeus. I'm gonna go 1, 2 with him. My thinking is I want these 2 to join forces. And then I will go 1, 2. And then Perdiccas is only going to be able to go 2 spaces. That's fine. He's going to go 1, 2. Alright, that is green done. Next up we have blue. If we were in Cappadocia and didn't have enemies in my PC there, I could do it for some mercenaries, but I'ma just take the 2 things. Go away, Origin. Nobody asked you. Okay. I could place 2 PCs. But I couldn't use it to take Syria, which is really what I'd want to do. I didn't already do Scythia? Oh no, I did that in my practice game. I just took Scythia. But it is definitely worth it to go ahead and just grab a point. We'll do it. And I freaking forgot again. Game. Please. Oh, we're gonna siege that province there. Right there. That is more than enough to conquer it and flip it over to Team Me. To Team Les Bleus. Oh, Leonatos is going to keep trying in Kypros. He got a 6. That is 2 siege points, my friend. He is well on his way to seizing that for the glory of the Blue Empire. And Kratoros is on friendly territory, so no sieging there. Okay, back to this. We place 2, we get Scythia. And that is going to earn us 1 victory point, which is 1 more than we had when we started the turn. That is quite nice. So we're now going to go ahead and roll the movement die. Movement die, you get 3. Which means anyone who's a 2 gets to go 4 spaces, which would be Antigonos, who's actually on his own right now. All the 3s move 3 spaces, and poor Kratoros only gets to move 2. That's fine. He's gonna go... That's interesting. If he moved there, would I try to interrupt him? So it's an interesting question here. So can you play multiple surprise cards in a round, is my question. Because that's going to affect what happens here. Is it even naval movement to go by a sea path? Like, is it automatically? Yes. Okay. So I need to double check on the surprise cards and see how many you can play in a given turn. Okay, 6.2. At any time, yeah. So that's going to be really interesting. Okay. So, he moves 2 spaces here. And Blue realizes, Green realizes his unique opportunity. He escorts it. Everybody, Green says, I'm going to oppose you with my Egyptian and Phoenician fleets. Blue says, not so fast. There's no naval battle. Green, on the other hand, says, not so fast, Cretan liar, and I play superior admiral. Which means I get a +2 to my battle roll. Okay. That's quite spicy. Okay. So I'm trying to remember if naval battles are rolling 2 dice or 1. I think you just roll 1 for a naval battle. And I threw that card on the floor. 13.3. Naval battle. It is rolls 2 dice. Okay. So I get to add. So it's 4 strength versus 2, but I get to add +2 to the green fleet. So it's 4 versus 2 strength, but I get +2 to my die roll. So it'd be 8 and 8. However, that gets me a 10. So that's 3 and 3. It is a draw. It is a draw. What happens if there is a naval battle draw, I hear you asking? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because so basically it slipped past. Damn it. You win this round, Jerk Weasel. You win this round. Damn it, that really does annoy me quite severely, actually. Because that was my best chance to stop him from moving. But alas, at least we lose no real penalties. So it is back to Blue's turn. So Blue moved himself 2 spaces. And everyone else gets to move 3. Leonatos already continued his siege, because I remember he got a 6. But was that during the turn, or was that during the surrender segment? I think that was during the surrender segment, so I think he does get to do 1 more siege attempt. So we're gonna try it. Ooh, he got a 1. He loses a dude, which actually breaks the siege. Unfortunate. That is most unfortunate. Thanks, I hate it. So your loyal Macedonian troops are dead, serious fight issue in Scratchy Land, and the siege is broken. Them's the breaks. As for you, I think the most important thing to do now is to take Athens. So we're gonna go here. And that's going to give me 1 attempt to siege. So a 6 starts you off with an excellent 2 siege points. Very nicely done. Good news, nobody. Okay. Blue's turn is now complete. They've activated all their generals. They still can't bury what's-his-face. It's a shame, but that's alright. That should have been taken a while ago, I think, by Blue. Those guys have been there for a while. Okay. Reveal 2 cards here. Nope. And nope. Back to green. Surrender segment. Nothing in either of those places. Ptolemy does get 1 step closer to taking Armenia. And where is Perdiccas? He is right there. He didn't move, so that's fine. All right. I have a plan. Maybe. If I'm going to have any chance at stopping them, I need a better fleet. I'm going to go and play Asian Phalanx to upgrade one of my fleets. The Egyptian fleet, just because it's a bit more secure. Then I'm going to roll some beautiful beam footage and see. I got a 5. 4 movement spaces for everybody. Perfect. 1, 1, 2, 3. I really want to attack Leonatos. I really, truly do. It would result in a naval battle, almost certainly. But I think that's a risk I have to take. Because then I can try to take this for us. And that would be pretty cash money. So we're going to risk it for the biscuit. We're going to go 1, 2... And I'm going to declare that I'm moving, and I'm going to go ahead and say I'm committing all my fleets. The question is, does blue want to risk it? 4 on 3 basically comes down to whoever rolls better. And if they lost their entire fleet, they lose 3 victory points. And then green can move as much as they want to the last turn of the game with impunity. However, if they win, I guess that really just inconveniences them. That's interesting. I don't see the point in causing a naval battle here, just because even if green wins, fleets are never sunk, and blue would just get them back next turn. I do think, however, they would lose... they would have to downgrade the 1 fleet, though. I think. Let me see here. No, yeah, it just disembarks it. So yeah, there's really no benefit. There's too much for them to lose, aka 3 victory points. So I think they're just going to let it happen. And pretty cost is I'm going to fight Leonatos here. I wish I had one more movement point with him, but alas, I don't. That's fine, though. So, my total battle strength with pretty cost is going to be 2. As will Leonatos is. No, his is 4, because he's got loyal Macedonian units. Hang on, maybe this is actually a dumb decision. Because I don't get to use my royal army. And if he won the battle, they would defect to his side. I didn't do any of that. I'm back here. Sorry. Yeah. Is there a major city I can get to somewhat quickly? I can get to the major city in Phrygia next turn. So I'm going to do 1, 2... No, wait. Then I would suffer some attrition because I'd be in a transit point. So I'm going to go around. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So then I get to flip that next turn and I can go after... Oh, no, wait. I need to do... Whatever major city I'm going to try to see if you have to do it this turn. That's my issue. Because otherwise I'm going to lose it. I don't have another card. I have to discard the card to get a different card. So that sucks. Unless one of my other generals can siege a major city. They cannot. Most distressing. Like 1... Yeah, the only major cities I could even approach are already mine. Maybe I do risk it? Like, winning the battle, first of all, it displaces Leonatos, and second, like, it's 4v2. So it basically comes down to the dice roll, because 2 and 4 aren't that different on the chart. I gotta do it. I've got to do it. Otherwise, the card is wasted. So we're going to try it. And we'll just see what happens. It's going to come down to the dice rolls. Oh, that's going to be 4 strength for blue, 2 for green. So it's going to be blue, green. Okay, so this goes up to a 3. Boop. And these both go up to 3s. So it is 6v8. 8 on the 2 table is good for a 1. 6 on the 4 table is good for a 1. So we each lose 1 unit. Which is actually much more relevant to me than him, because that goes there. I do have to retreat. However, what happens in a Royal Army siege if there's a draw? I think they only defect if the other side wins. I gotta get rid of blue's legitimacy somehow. That's becoming a real annoyance. Let me see here. Yeah, I didn't lose, so they don't defect. So that's good. So that was pretty costs. I already moved. Oh no, I didn't move him. You can go right there. Actually, I'm just gonna move over to here, because then I can take all of Armenia during the next siege phase. We're gonna merge these 2 armies, that's what I said. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're gonna go 1, 2. And before I merge you, who would actually take command? I hope it would be Aemenes. No, it would be Pathon. That's fine. So boop. Don't worry, Aemenes will get his own army again sooner rather than later, but I just need to consolidate strength, so we're not quite so helpless in the future. Well, that ends green's turn. Everyone is in good places. There's not going to be any attrition. Over to blue. So, Leonatos is reeling quite badly. He is reeling quite badly. And he can't siege anyway, so I think it makes sense for him to go pick up his unit here. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm gonna do that no matter what, but I do need to play a card. So, I could activate Sleuthus. He's not very challenging. But I get to control where he moves, and I can basically use him to cut off and delay green, giving me enough time to get Krateros and and bury Alexander. So I think that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna play this card. Plus I get 3. I get the 3 points on top of it. So we're gonna activate Sleuthus. And he's gonna come over to here. That's 1 movement point. Then he's gonna go 2, 3, and I get to activate all the armies, right? But there are no other active armies, are there? That wasn't as good a card as I thought it was. There are no other active armies. All the other armies are passive right now. Oh well. That's fine. Oh no, he most definitely is. And Ptolemaeus only has 1 troop. Absolutely, we're doing it. Here we go. 1, 2, and it's going to be a fight. Now, the question is, would Ptolemaeus like to attempt to evade? And I believe he does. I believe evading would be very, very smart right now. I just need to remind myself what I have to roll in order to evade. Oh, I can actually not pick up troops, but he can't overrun either. So, potato, potato. So if we fought, Ptolemaeus would have the edge in die rolls, but it'll be 1 strength versus 4. Or 2 strength versus 4, excuse me. I guess it's worth fighting, because if I kill him, he's dead forever. And oh, sorry, you should get a rebel marker there. And I get a popularity. That's not nothing. Let's do it. I will accept the battle as green. So the independent army has a strength of 4. I have a strength of 2. So green on the left, independence on the right. Okay, that turns into 2 3s. So that becomes 6v7. 4, 7 is 2. 7 on 2 is 1. So the independents do win. They can't lose CUs. They're either all there or they're not there at all. Which means I get dispersed. Just the general, though, because his troops are dead. Well, I guess you go fight them, too. Because it was right here. Is on 1, 2... No, because the battle stops movement. Oh, that gets removed. So Ptolemaeus is troopless. I don't think you die just because you're out of troops, right? I think you still just get dispersed. Because if you lose, everything gets dispersed. But let me see if the 1 damage happens before that or after that. Because the timing is going to matter whether he's got a troop or not. Oh, we actually roll for attrition. So it actually is possible that we can save our troop. I would love to do that if we can. With only 1, as long as I don't roll a 6, I won't lose him. And I rolled a 1. So, hooray. He is dispersed, but he gets to keep his soldier. And that's lovely. Just flat out lovely. And I still get my 3 points. I could activate Crawdaros, move in 3 spaces. Yes, please. 1, 2, 3. And he can pick up this dude. So now we actually roll to activate. Yes, because... No, I didn't roll for Antipatros, did I? God, I suck at forgetting the freaking surrender segment. I thought I remembered it, but I guess I didn't. I got too excited about moving Leonatos. Yeah, for sure. No, I just... Yeah, there's a 6 there. I must have just done that. So, okay, I did not forget. So I rolled to move people. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm apparently very scatterbrained today. 3. That's gonna be a movement of 3 spaces for everyone, but... No, yeah, everyone but Kratos is only gonna get to move 2. That's fine. If Kratos did that, then Antipatros would take command. It would also put way too many troops in one space. There'd be some pretty gnarly attrition to deal with. So I think instead I just go 1-2 and call it good there. Everyone else gets to move 3 spaces, so Antipatros is going to use 2 of those to continue his siege. And he succeeds. Well done. No, Athens won't officially become ours until the next surrender segment. But that's still very good. Andy could leave a dude behind, and which he will. And he's going to swing on over to here, so we can get 1 step closer to taking that as well. You can be deleted. And then last but certainly not least, Leonatos already moved 1 space. The question is, does he want to move again? Huh. I think the stakes are just too high right now to risk naval movement. I think he'll just stay where he is, and we'll call it good. Okay, blue is done. Reveal 2 more Taiki cards. The Kalikia Pirates do not take place. And neither do Storms at Sea. Okay. So, blue cannot win the game this turn. They're not going to be able to get him over to Pelos in time, I don't believe. No, they could. They absolutely could, because there's only 3 spaces to get to Pelos. And then he buries Alexander and blue wins the game. I don't think there's anything I can do to stop that, short of defeating him by naval movement. So this card just gets discarded, and we draw 1 from the deck. It sucks, but I can't do anything about it. That is such a good card. I wish I could play it as the card says, but this coming naval battle is about as important as any naval battle could be. I think I have to spend it to upgrade. Oh, that sucks. This is such a good card. It's 3 units in Egypt. Imagine what I could do with 3 more units. But no. I can't. I hate it. I hate that I have to play the card this way, but I don't have another alternative. If he makes it to Pella, he wins the game. That's just how it is. I can't stop him from burying Alexander. So I've got to play to upgrade my other fleet. It annoys the shit out of me, especially because I know they're going to take Athens. And I can't stop that either. So, let's activate some... Oh, I skipped the surrender segment again, but I don't think it matters. Oh no, it sure does, because that does become green. But that's unfortunately not enough to take Armenia. So, I will, once he departs, because I can do this whenever I want to, I'm going to put a loyal minor army out here, just so that I have some flexibility with what I can do with him. Let us roll now to see what the move looks like. Unless Pretty Cost gets to take anything. Oh, he does. He gets to take that. Anyway. So let us roll some dice. That's 4 moves. That is pretty solid. Pretty solid. So the question is, what can we do with four moves for 2 generals? Excuse me, because Ptolemaeus is off the board now. Is there anything I can do to take legitimacy away from blue? Not with what I've got. And I can't get there quickly enough to intercept him either. Is there any way I could add a fleet? I could try to take Cyprus, but I don't have anybody in position there. Look, I'm not going to be able to take Rhodes. I just won't have the turn to do it. Is there any other fleet that might be added? Athena, Kypros, and Kilikia are the only ones that are not in play already. That's interesting. Go attack Athens. That's very interesting. If I kill Athens, they can't get the Athens fleet. And that basically makes it a roll of the dice. Now, I think only 1 naval battle can be declared on a turn, right? I believe that is accurate. You can't declare more than 1 naval battle. Like, whatever happens, happens. Yeah, if I win it, I will never have a better opportunity. This is my one chance to maybe stop him. Which is because he has to do naval movement, right? There is no way to do this without naval movement. Unless he goes way out of his way. So, I am going to go, let's say it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So 1, I'm going to defend with my entire fleet. The whole kit and caboodle. And to be quite honest, they can't afford not to engage me. Because they see what I see. Which is if I get to Athens, they could try to intercept. No, they can't. They can't intercept because you can't intercept onto a space that already has your CUs on them. Or you can't intercept onto a space that has other CUs on it. Let's find out. Because this is going to matter very, very significantly. Let's see here. No, it's only if it's an enemy CU. So yeah, they'll basically do an interception. Will lead to a very interesting battle, to say the least. So, Pathon says, I'm going to send my entire fleet to escort. Oh no. Wait just a damn minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't get to Athens because of the stupid trans-Mediterranean path takes 2 spaces. An Athens fleet is worth 2. Shit. I don't think there's anything I can do, which sucks majorly, but I can't get there quickly enough. I can't take roads from them, and even if I could, I wouldn't have enough spaces. One, 2, 3, 4. I get to Libya, but that doesn't seem to do very much. Can I do anything of value? I could take Phrygia from them, but it's not going to matter. 1, because it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I can take Phrygia. I can at least deny them Phrygia, right? Oh, snap. If I don't get another token here, I've actually lost Syria. Already took Syria away from myself. Okay, that's good. I don't think there's anything I can do. Because I can't intercept... I can't stop Crateros, right? I cannot get there. The only thing that would save us at this point is Crateros getting a shitty roll. Is Blue getting a bad roll on their movement. If they get a 3 or less, then this game goes on into turn 3. And there's still probably nothing I can do. It just delays the turn. But there's lots of things that could happen with the right card at the right time. Alright. So I need to be in a position to actually do some damage in a future turn. Alright, so I'm going to go 1. I'm going to say I'm escorting my entire fleet. They say go for it. And I go 2. Taking roads from them would be very beneficial both in terms of points and in terms of disrupting things. And then Perdiccas is going to go 1, 2, 3. And he'll just stop there. Not a very exciting turn. I acknowledge this. Oh, I mean, I guess I could do... Nah, it's not worth it. It is not worth it. Because they're not going to fight me in a naval battle here. Because then there is a chance of losing that battle before they get Athens. And even Athens doesn't guarantee it, right? There's certainly no guarantee. So we will have to see what happens when Blue takes their turn. So Blue's only card is red. So they're going to discard that and draw a new card. And that's what they get there. Okay, cool. So, my friends. Surrender segment happens first. Athens becomes a loyal piece of the Blue faction. Now, I need to double check and make sure that the Athens fleet is for controlling Athens and not controlling Elos. Yes, it is directly tied to Athens. So that gives them a pretty good advantage. Gives them a total fleet strength of 6 versus 4. Oh, technically they would have lost 3 victory points and then regained them, because for a brief time we were tied. But it doesn't matter now. Any other surrender actions? Yes, we can try to take that space. Just needs 1 siege point to Rooney. And that's how many they did not get. They got 0 siege point to Rooney's and point of fact. Leonatos already controls that space. And so does Crateros. So all that is done. Now we play a card. 2 mercenaries in Thrace is pretty good. There's really no downside to it. Yes, I could place 2 PCs, but I don't think that makes any sense. Like, yes, I could place one in Illyria, 100%. I could place one in Syria just to annoy the green player. But I'm already going to lose this PC marker because it's going to be isolated. Nothing to be done about that. This is super isolated. A lot of blue markers are going to come off the board because they're just isolated right now. And that's fine. These markers are all just pretty much just to annoy annoy green anyway. So I think the best thing we could possibly do with this card is use it for its actual benefit. And I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of a minor general and put it over there. Just for funsies, Nicanor. So it all comes down to this die roll. Whether or not the game continues for another turn or not. It does. So, you've only got 2 dudes, not enough for a siege. I'm just going to come over to here so we can take that space during the net C segment. That's fine. I gotta get Leonatos away. He's way too vulnerable right now. He's only got 4 strength. And I'm just going to say I'm going to use a fleet to escort. I say what the fuck ever. And he's going to go 1-2. That's fine. He's going to go 1-1. Because I don't want to take a chance on Pathon interrupting him. Because Pathon could jack his shit. Pathon is quite strong at this point. Then we get Antipatros, who is going to use his actual movement to try to siege. I'm deliberately saving the best for last, or maybe the worst for last. For that is 1 siege point, so this is now removed. Well done, Antipatros. And lastly, but not leastly, Crateros. So I've got a couple options here. But I don't think there's a way around this. I have to sail. Because going all the way around to take the land route means I have to fight this guy, and while I could probably beat him, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth the risk. So maybe for better, maybe for worse, I don't know. We're going to declare naval movement to go here. So this is going to come down to the naval battle because the stakes are too high. If green wins this battle, blue loses their fleet, and he stops. He can't move. I don't think anything happens to the units other than they just don't get to move. And that might buy us precious time to see what kind of card we get next turn. If we fail, we fail. If we draw, we draw. So that's 6 strength versus 4 strength. Let's roll. A blue on the left, green on the right. And green gets boxcars. What an incredible swing of fortune. Blue loses their entire fleet. Owie. Kroteros can't move. So he's gonna stay where he is. And I get to steal 3 victory points from blue. 1, 2, 3. And just like that, my friends, we're in a really interesting position. So the last thing we do every turn is we do isolation. This can draw to Leonatos, so this is fine. This is not. That's removed. That's removed, that's removed, and that's removed. Those are all gone. Forever. That's fine and dandy like chocolate candy. And last things last, we're going to move up to turn 3. Doesn't somebody die in turn 3? Like, that's a pretty big piece of the 3rd turn, right? I might as well do it now so I don't forget. Because otherwise, I guarantee you I will forget, depending on when I actually play this again. Okay. So, there are 2 very important things that happen. Antipatros dies. Which results in 3 more legitimacy for blue. 1, 2, 3. He just straight up fucking dies. But they do get a replacement general. They get Polyperkon. So this gets removed. I don't think it removed, it goes back to the holding box. This is where it goes. That's fine. Whoever has Antigonos, does it replace him or is it an extra general? So I'm very confused about whether you get Demetrios and Antigonos, or Demetrios just replaces Antigonos. I'm going to find out, because that's rather important. I will be back in just a minute. Alright, my friends. I did some research. I reread the rules a couple times, and you get Demetrios in addition. Which is kind of cool. However, Demetrios kind of sucks. So that's fun. Oh, and where are the... Here we go. Give me... Polyperkon and Demetrios. So Polyperkon is going to replace Antipatros. What? And Demetrios, I'm just going to put him in the dispersed box for now, because he's going to go on in the reinforcement phase. And then I'll decide where I want to put him then. Last thing we're going to do is the usurper is now green. Because they have the most victory points, and blue decides whether or not they want to go first, and they say, I very much would love to go first, thank you. And so, next time we play, we will be in the reinforcement phase for year 3. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be real interesting to see whether or not blue can easily win the game. Like, that legitimacy is disgusting. And so an instant victory is imminent if any one of a number of things happens. But we cannot disguise the fact that Kratros becomes really weak if he loses the silver shields. And even more importantly, there's still the naval problem to be sorted out. So this may be an interesting year 3. I'm going to leave a quick note to myself. Start in the enforcement phase. And then I'm going to go ahead and save the game. I want to thank you all for watching this. I hope you are enjoying. Again, if you notice any drastic mistakes that I don't fix, please go ahead and post them in the chat. I do know a couple times I missed a surrender segment, and that's on me. But I think I was able to recover from that pretty quickly. I don't think the actual game state changed at all as a result. But yeah, I want to thank you for watching, and until next time, this has been Guardian, and I bid you good day.